Hi, welcome to Delicious and Light. This week I'm featuring cast iron skillet cooking. If you don't have a cast iron skillet in your home, it's alright. You can use any large skillet pan. It just cast iron works really well for the kinds of meals that we're making. So tonight we're going to be making braised beef and mushrooms. So this is a nice savory dish for you all. And you want to start off with 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of, I'm using sirloin because it's low cal, low fat. You can also use London broil because this is going to braise for a while. So if your meat's a little tough, you just braise it for a little longer. So I'm going to cut this into 5 slices because this is a little bit more than 1 pound, and it's usually about 4 ounces per pound. So we'll have 5 slices here, and we'll just have leftovers for tomorrow. No big deal. So you just want to cut these into 1 to 1.5 inch thick steaks like I did here. And grab a towel. All you want to do is lightly salt and pepper like you would any protein. So just sprinkle a little salt on there and a little pepper, and you want to do that on both sides. So let me get a set of tongs, flip them over. And while you're doing this, let's also get our pan ready. So what I'm going to do is I have a cast iron skillet, and I just want to add on medium-high heat, put that on medium-high heat, and add about 1 tablespoon of canola oil. This will help them brown and cook properly. So just add that to the pan and let that heat up. We'll just continue to salt and pepper these steaks. And then what you want to do is I have about 1/2 cup of flour. To just dredge these in flour. Shake off any excess. And then what we'll do is add them to the pan as that gets hot. So right now, I'm just going to pop them in here. And this is a good weeknight dinner because it takes about 20 minutes to braise once you've browned everything. But it's not a dinner that takes several hours or anything to cook. So you could do this during the week. You can also brown everything, pop it in the fridge, and finish it off by braising it for 20 minutes the next day if you'd like. So that's it, about 1/2 cup of flour. I didn't even really use that. We'll discard the extra flour there. And then we just want to add the meat to the pan and let that cook. This is about a 12 to 14 inch cast iron pan. So you want to use a fairly large one whenever you're cooking with protein as well as mushrooms. You want to make sure that your pan is large enough, otherwise you want to cook it in batches. So I'm going to cook this on 3 to 5 minutes on each side, and then I'll remove it from the heat. I'll catch you back in about 3 to 5 minutes. Thanks. Alright, so the steaks are starting to brown on one side, so I am just flipping them over, and I'm going to let them cook for a couple minutes on that side. In the meantime, I'm going to chop 1 large onion, and that will end up being in the pan as well. Whenever you scrape with a knife, make sure you're scraping with the dull part, not the sharp part, otherwise you will dull your knife over time. So as I scrape it into the garbage, I'm using the dull side of it. So you just want to chop your onion after you get it peeled. By the way, if you don't know, follow us on Twitter and on Facebook, on YouTube as well, so this way you can be updated about the new videos coming up. For instance, we're doing cast iron skillet week, so there'll probably be another recipe in here tomorrow for you. Something you can cook up in the cast iron for dinner. You know, I was never originally a big fan of cast iron, but my husband really wanted it, so we got it for his birthday or Christmas one year. And I started cooking with the cast iron, and I do have to say, it does cook up food really nice. I'm a big fan now. And he promises to clean it every time, so I'm all good. If he's cleaning, I'm cooking. So you just want to chop your onion up, get that ready for the next phase. The nice thing about this dinner too is it truly only takes one skillet, and I'm not going to serve them with mashed potatoes, but this is a great dinner, a very down-home style dinner that you can make with mashed potatoes and green beans. So now they're browned on both sides, so I'm going to remove these from the pan. And we're just going to add the mushrooms at this point. And I just bought these pre-sliced because it's the middle of the week. The last thing I want to do is more work, so I got a little bit easy and just got pre-sliced mushrooms. You can also get whole mushrooms at any time and slice them yourself, whatever you prefer. So I covered this. What I'm going to do is release the liquid from the mushrooms, uncover it, and let that liquid evaporate. So that's going to take about 5 to 8 minutes. So why don't I catch you back then? Alright, so the mushrooms have cooked and a lot of the moisture has already evaporated. So from here, all we want to do is add the onions. Let them cook for 3 to 5 minutes as well until they're soft. Just get these onions in here. And again, what I like to do is just cover them to release the moisture, and then let them cook uncovered so that that moisture evaporates. So we're going to do that for the next 3 to 5 minutes, and I'll catch you back again. All right, welcome back. So there's a couple things I want to mention. When I had put the mushrooms in, that was 18 ounces of mushrooms. You don't even have to remember all of this. It's on the website, deliciouslight.com. And when I put them in, I did lower the heat because the steaks were being seared on a high heat. So I brought it down to a medium for the mushrooms and the onions. So the onions are now nice and soft. So what I'm going to do is add, add 2 cloves of garlic before I add the tomatoes. So I'm just going to get my already peeled garlic. Again, makes it super easy for a mid-week dinner. And then just put these 2 cloves of minced garlic in here, and that's just going to cook up for a minute or less. Just going to get them warmed up. We don't want to get them too brown, and definitely don't want to burn them, otherwise they get bitter. So just stir that around. And then from there, you'll see the recipe on the internet, on the website, is 28 ounces. So these are 2 14.5 ounces of diced tomatoes. 1 ounce isn't going to make a huge difference. So it's about 28 ounces of diced tomatoes you want to put in, as well as 3/4 cup of dry red wine and about a tablespoon of fresh thyme. So I'm going to turn the heat up again because we're going to bring this all up to a boil. I'll add the tomatoes, the red wine, and we're going to let that cook up to a boil. And then we'll add the thyme in here. The thyme goes very nicely with beef. It's a spice I use a lot. I really like it. It's very earthy and not quite as strong as rosemary. A lot of people don't like rosemary, which you'll see in a lot of chickens, poultry, turkey, that duck, but thyme goes very nicely with beef. So just get that up to a boil. And then all you want to do from here is just nestle your steaks right in there. Super easy. You just cover it and let this simmer for 20 minutes. So I'm going to bring this heat way down, and the simmer should be very low, not even a boil, but it should be a little bubbly. So I'm just going to let that sit and cook for 20 minutes. And the last thing that would go in there is we're going to add a little red wine vinegar at the end. So again, you can check the ingredients and the measurements all on deliciouslight.com. And just to give a little plug, This is being sponsored by Apex Nova. We help schools, groups, and clubs raise money, as well as providing character education to our elementary school students. So check us out there too, Apex Nova on Facebook. I'll see you in about 20 minutes. All right, so the buzzer just went off. So this has been simmering for 20 minutes, and I'm just gonna uncover it, lower the heat a little bit, and while I was cooking it, I tasted it to make sure it had enough salt and pepper. If not, I add it. So I just want to taste this, see if it's right. Very good. For me, it does not need any salt or pepper. So at the very last minute, you just add a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, and I'm just going to stir that around. That'll add a little bit more flavor to the dish, which it has plenty of flavor in it. And I'm just going to let that simmer just for another couple minutes. In the meantime, I just want to show you, while that was simmering, I had 20 minutes. So all I did was I cooked some French green beans on the stovetop. They were frozen, so I defrosted them in the microwave for 4 minutes first. Then I just sauteed them. I sprayed the pan, sauteed them, added salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, and then I sprinkled Parmesan cheese and covered them so the Parmesan cheese will semi-melt when you get into it and when we're ready to serve it. The nice thing about Parmesan cheese, it adds a lot of flavor and it's really not high in calories or fat. So I use Parmesan cheese a lot. The other thing I wanted to mention while this was simmering is my husband and I love to cook. So we decided to try out an air fryer a couple weeks ago, and we're loving it. So all I did, I said this is a good meal for mashed potatoes. I really didn't feel like making mashed potatoes, and it takes a little time. So all I did was peel and slice potatoes, put them in the air fryer. I didn't even use oil. I literally just sprayed the inside with cooking spray and sprayed the potatoes so that the salt and pepper would stick to them. And then I just cooked them up for about 15 minutes at 400 degrees. And what we get are nice, crispy potatoes. It's like a thick potato chip almost. You just get these last couple through. And then that is it. I mean, dinner is ready to be served. We've got potatoes, we've got string beans, we've got a nice hearty beef, all lower calorie, lower fat. At Delicious and Light. Check us out. Our recipe will be up tonight along with the video, so check out this recipe. And in the meantime, happy eatings. Enjoy. Thank you. Until next time. Bye-bye.